One woman: the federal government has been monitoring Diddy's daughter's phones, according to Jaguar Wright, and fans claim to be more aware of his activities than they have been revealing. Despite the fact that it doesn't appear well, what specifically did the women do to raise suspicions? Everyone in Diddy's household appears to be feeling the effects of his predicament. Furthermore, did they actually try to flee the country? Let us analyze it. Simply said, Jaguar Wright clearly dislikes Diddy. In recent years, she has made it apparent that she is among Diddy's most vocal critics. She's allegedly now pursuing Diddy's twin children, Jesse and Delilah. So it's obvious that we were mistaken to assume she would only be angry with Diddy. Jesse or Delilah doesn't look like Jaguar. It was connected to the scandal. Even though the twins and his other daughter, Chance, are only a few months older than the twins, they are still young. They will all be 19 this year. Even though the twins are now considered legal adults, they still seem to be the focus. What precisely did the twins do that the streets believe the feds are investigating? On the one hand, their concern for living the best lives possible outweighs their concern for their father's circumstances. It's fair to say that they have been traveling the world, attending boat parties, and having extravagant vacations. Certain others, such as Jaguar Wright, believe that it is a bit out of touch for them to flaunt all of that given the current events, particularly in view of the unsettling revelations that have emerged regarding the alleged abuses their father inflicted on his victims. Ever since they were young, they have lived this way. Supporters also think that the girls informally support their father, particularly because they offered to surrender their passports while he was in prison last year. Federal prosecutors requested that the judge deny Diddy bail because they were concerned that if he were released on bond, he might intimidate witnesses and obstruct the investigation. Prosecutors claim Diddy has the means to be considered a flight risk, while the federal government claims Diddy had illegal substances in his hotel room when he was arrested, despite his willingness to pay a $50 million bond for house confinement. The judge rejected it. Later on, we learned about Diddy's bail requirements, which were said to be utterly ridiculous. On these grounds, Diddy's attorney suggested a $50 million bond as bail, which was co-signed by Sean Combs, his mother, sister, the mother of his eldest daughter, and his 3 adult sons. The bond should also be backed by equity in Mr. Combs' home located at 2 West Star Island in Miami, Florida, he suggested. It is not burdened in anticipation, and the house's estimated appraised value is $48 million. Utilizing the house to get a bond and go debt-free, Mr. Combs paid down the nearly $18 million outstanding mortgage during this bail hearing on August 20, 2024, according to the documentation. As security for the bond, the equity of Mr. Combs' mother's home, located at 450 Alton Road in Miami, Florida, would also be used. In order to attend court, meet with his attorney, and attend medical appointments, Mr. Combs' travel would be limited to the Eastern District of New York or the District of New Jersey, only to the extent that his trip to and from New York involves an airport in those districts. We will also address these issues with the court in a separate sealed submission. The words: in April of this year, Diddy voluntarily turned over his passport to the police, but he went one step further and offered to turn over his mother's and daughter's passports as well, as was later disclosed. It included the passports of Jesse, Chance, Janice, and the Combses, the family members who had already turned in their passports to the council following the searches of Mr. Combs' residences. According to recent rumors, the twins might be running. But what are they fleeing from? There have been speculations that they may be attempting to flee before things really get out of control. The Chilean sisters, Delilah and Love Combs, were allowed to keep their passports despite having to give them up because the federal authorities would not accept them. Diddy's net worth was approximately $1 billion before this catastrophe. At present, his net worth is only approximately $400 million. It gets worse because, according to the indictment documents the feds filed, Diddy will likely have to give up everything he owns if he is found guilty of the following offense. Sean Combs shall forfeit to the United States any and all interests insecurities of claims against an property or contractual rights of any kind that give him a source of influence over the business named and described herein that the defendant founded, operated, and controlled, directly or indirectly. They conducted and took part in the conduct of any and all property obtained from the proceeds of the offense. This includes, but is not restricted to, a quantity of money in US dollars that is indicative of the total amount of proceeds that can be traced back to the offense's conduct. They further stated that the defendant would forfeit to the United States any real or personal property used or planned to be utilized to carry out or aid in the commission of the aforementioned actions, as well as any property that might be connected to such property. Since currency represents the amount of property involved in the aforementioned offenses and proceeds that can be linked to the commission of said charges, there is a very real chance that Diddy will not only go to jail but also go bankrupt and continue living the lifestyle that the twins have grown accustomed to. They have expressed that they do not want to pursue a traditional career or a college degree. Thus, the twins will struggle to adjust to life without their father's millions. What connection does their escape have to all of this, though? Sources claim that Diddy opened offshore accounts for his children in case something similar happened. An intriguing justification for Diddy's lawyer's recommendation that his children give up their passports was offered by this admirer. As for Diddy's lawsuit, fans are claiming that the girls know something that we don't. They seem to know that Diddy is probably going to lose the case, and they're trying to cut their losses before things turn as ugly as you can imagine. This is due to the fact that they are probably the names of offshore actors, and they do not want him to use the funds in offshore accounts to silence others, transfer funds overseas, or pay things off. According to Jaguar Wright, Diddy used to have financial power over his kids.
When you're dealing with the kind of the control freak that Diddy is, and you raise children under that, the financial abuse for all of them is probably the worst. Because there's no way they can make money without him. He has them locked in. And if he falls, who's gonna hire them? Who's gonna fund them? Who's gonna look out for them? No one. Right. No one. They're not fighting for their father, they're fighting for their survival.
It is certainly difficult to hold the girls responsible for cutting their losses and leaving when they have graduated from high school, will not be attending college, and their father is likely to be arrested. If there is a substantial amount of money in the offshore accounts, they will want to get to it as soon as possible. Please take a look at the next video and then share your thoughts with me.